Hey guys, Prangell Gaming here, and today I'm going to be giving you a Millwall analysis video. Now, today's Millwall analysis video is the game against Gillingham. We did unfortunately lose the game 3-0, and I've got a lot to cover, not just the goals and the chances in this game. I've got a lot to complain about, so it should be interesting. Now, before I start, I just want to say that before the game even kicked off, I predicted that Gillingham would win the game 3-2, and so I expected them to score 3, and I did expect Gillingham to win, but the way we lost and the manner we lost is the way that I'm actually really disappointed, because the team's performance wasn't that bad. I mean, in the first half it was terrible, in the second half we could have scored a goal, but it just didn't go our way. So I'm just disappointed in the manner of the way we lost it. Now, it all spurs from Archer being sent off. Now, that was a stupid challenge. He did one of those to get, well, Dominic Samuel got a yellow card for simulation, but if he had made contact with Dominic Samuel, that's a red card. So surely he would have learnt from his mistakes there, but unfortunately he didn't. And of course he did see red. Now, Gillingham did get away with a lot of fouls. This referee didn't seem to know what was a foul and what wasn't. It was kind of a tricky one, this game. Now, Dominic Samuel also did score 2 goals, but the fact that he was on the pitch is the thing that he should be proud of. The biggest highlight for him, because he had a lot of dodgy challenges and did a lot to our defence. That is questionable whether there could have been a yellow card there, and of course he was yellow carded for simulation. So maybe he could have been red carded, but I can't really say anything there. But the refereeing decisions as a whole are terrible, and I think it's just getting worse and worse at the Den. I mean, it's been terrible for years now, but this season the refs have been worse than the standard that has been at the Den for the last couple of years. Now, I'm not just saying that because we lost a game against Gillingham. No, I expected us to lose the game. And I didn't expect, though, the referee to not have control of the game much at all. I mean, the players fought on the pitch, and he practically booked 2 players. A lot of players fought there. Pretty much every single player got involved. Now, that's probably going to leave giving Millwall a fine, and of course Gillingham will get a fine for that, but still the referee had no control over it and he just couldn't do anything. And the refereeing decisions have been poor for such a long time in football in general, and I just don't understand why there's bad referees at the Den and in football, because someone really needs to sort this out. It's getting ridiculous now. So enough about that. I just want to quickly rant about 2 players that played absolutely terrible in that game, and I questioned them playing on the pitch in the first place. And now the first player is George Saville. Of course, we do have him on loan from Wolves. Now, he's a terrible player. He doesn't link up play as well as he should. I mean, he did it in the past. He has done pretty good in the past, linking up play and things. He's done quite well in previous games. But recently, the last 3 or 4 games, he's just not been able to do it, and he's struggling with the pressure, I would believe. Now, we should send him back on a boat to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Kenny can have him back as much as he wants. It's just really frustrating because I thought he was going to be good when we signed him on loan, but he hasn't been. And the second player is Carlos Edwards. Now, I like Carlos Edwards. I think it's great that a player of his age is still playing in football, but there's an issue with that. He doesn't have the pace to keep up with the players all the time and 90 minutes throughout the entire game. And it's really frustrating because he gets caught out of position so much, and he did in that game, because he cannot keep up with the pace of the wingers. They just glide past him. And these 2 players really were the reason we lost that game, because they made a lot of mistakes that actually led to the goals that Gillingham scored. Now, enough about that. I'm done ranting about players. We can actually talk about the chances. Now, as I said, Dominic Samuel did get booked for simulation. Now, if Archer had touched him, that definitely would have been a yellow card, so Archer was very lucky, maybe even a red card there. So Archer was lucky to escape any card-ins there. If he had made contact, that would have been terrible, but obviously he didn't learn from his mistakes, as we'll find out later on. Now, Gillingham's first goal was a very, very well worked first goal. Bradley Dack crossed the ball in from a free kick, and it ended up perfectly landing on Dominic Samuel's head, and he headed the ball into the back of the net to make it 1-0 to Gillingham. Now, if Beavers marking had been a lot better. I mean, Beavers is quite a bit taller than Dominic Samuel. He could have stopped him there, but he didn't. He was a bit too relaxed, and obviously that led to the goal. Now, the next chance, well, it's kind of a chance, it's kind of not. It's the way that Gillingham got the penalty. Now, Samuel dribbled through the area. He was a nightmare to deal with. He's a fantastic player. Very good at what he does. But he just dribbled through the space where Carlos Edwards was meant to be, of course. Who other than Carlos Edwards? He just dribbled into that open space. He then tried to play the ball to McDonald. Now, Beavers could have stopped McDonald getting through completely, but he just let him get past him, get him behind. And then that meant that because Beavers wasn't defending properly, Archer had to come off his line. Now, Archer could have got the ball, but unfortunately he clattered. And I don't mean just lightly. He completely took McDonald out of the game. And that definitely was a red card. That was... I was really frustrated with that because I knew it was going to be a red card. It was a stupid challenge. And if we did that with the Dominic Samuel chance, where he almost completely took Dominic Samuel out of the game, well, he didn't learn from that. And unfortunately, that is a red card. Now, David Ford had to come on the pitch for Upson, a player who was probably the best player at the time. He was probably the best outfield player, doing a lot of things perfectly, but he did get subbed off. And then it meant that Ford had to save the penalty to stop Millwall going 2-0 down. Now, this wasn't the case. Dak put it straight down the middle, and it was very calmly and very well taken. That made it 2-0. And, well, Ford had to come off his line to stop Dak from scoring a one-on-one. That was very, very close to them scoring a third goal. They were coming really close in the first half. They were fantastic. Obviously, the top team in the first half. Now, into the second half, Millwall did get a great chance, a fantastic chance, that we could have easily taken in the second half. It's where Edwards crossed the ball. It then ended up at Aidan O'Brien's feet. He shot the ball at Nelson, unfortunately. It did bounce back. He then shot again. But this time, Nelson got his hands to it, and it went close to the goal. And all Gregory had to do was tap it in, but the player belted it off the line, and there goes probably our best chance in that game. Now, Edwards crossed the ball in again, and Aidan O'Brien just headed the ball over the bar. He was so close to scoring. Aidan O'Brien hasn't scored in such a long time now. It's almost like he's forgetting the feeling of scoring. I really do want him to score again. He's a brilliant player when he wants to play football. Now, Gillingham did eventually make it free. And it was where Webster tried to pass the ball back to David Ford. This was horrific to watch. He tried to pass it back to David Ford and obviously chipped it up in the air. Ford can't touch it with his hands because you're not allowed, and that would have been classed as a pass back. But Ford then tried to touch it with his feet. It's quite comical. He completely missed it. It went under his legs, and then Dominic Samuel, who was lurking about, managed to get past him and blast the ball into the back of the net to make it 3-0. Now, what about the key players? For Millwall, I'm going to have to go with Byron Webster. Now, don't get me wrong. He was the player that was, in fact, the reason that we gave away that third goal. It was terrible, terrible decision there to pass the ball back to Ford when he couldn't clearly get the ball. But he was very sturdy at the back, very solid compared to Beavers, Edwards, and, well, Joe Martin, to be honest. He was the best defender on the pitch, and without him, we could have conceded a lot more goals. So, he's definitely got my vote of confidence. He's definitely stepped up since Tony Craig, the captain, has been out injured. Now, Gillingham, as much as it pains me to say this, their key player was Dominic Samuel. He scored 2 goals. Fantastic player. Created a lot of great chances, despite having a few red card shouts. As I said, he got away with probably getting sent off there. But, nevertheless, he didn't get sent off, and he still dealt with the game really well. So anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Unfortunately, we did lose 3-0. Hopefully, we can bounce back against Walsall. That'll be a fun game to watch, because Walsall are near the top of the table, and that'll be a horrific game to watch us play at the Den. Hopefully it won't be the same scoreline as Gillingham, but who knows. So, like, comment, subscribe, and of course stay tuned for the next Millwall analysis video. Goodbye.